Hello, Phil here from Authentic Vocal and welcome to another video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I hope you guys appreciate the fully authentic vocals that are featured in this video and that you enjoy the analysis as well. I've been asked in the comments section to take somebody's live vocal and compare it with another live vocal that happened at a different show, and this is actually 3 years apart, the two performances that we're going to be taking a look at, but to compare the vocal pitch lines on screen to see how close or how different they are. Now, when choosing a subject for this analysis video, I've stated in the past that from all of the analysis videos that I've done, one of the most, if not the most accurate voice I have ever seen is Karen Carpenter's voice. And we're going to be taking a look at these two performances because obviously if somebody says, what do the lines look like from one performance to the next? If you're going to choose somebody who's not very accurate pitch-wise, then of course there's going to be loads of differences. So I've chosen the most accurate voice that I've ever seen so that we can see if it varies at all from one performance to the next. Of course, I did release that video on Michael Jackson performing the same thing 6 times, just the same 2 notes, and they never overlapped with any of the takes. But that wasn't a whole song. So we are going to jump into this and have a listen first of all to both performances synchronized. So have a listen to this.
We've only just begun to live, white lace and promises.
So hopefully you can already hear a bit of a difference going on. Like at the end there, that the promises was a little bit later on in one of the performances. And you start to hear these tiny differences, even actually in tuning, which is interesting. And by the way, tonight's video, you're going to have to keep this as a reference point for the video I'm going to be releasing on Sunday at 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time, because all of this is entirely relevant to what I will be analysing in that video. So we're working with here one of the most, if not the most accurate natural voices of all time. To me, it's absolutely nailed on that you can't doubt the pitch accuracy. And when I go back here having a look at look at this kind of thing. The great thing about Karen's voice is she was so good, she will just prove you right all the time, because at a distance you would say, oh look, that's been snapped to the line. But this is the point, that we're looking at a voice that was so accurate that at some points you might think it's auto-tuned or that it's pitch corrected. Of course it doesn't sound processed, because it isn't. You can see how accurate we are here, and we're pretty much over the line here, slightly under the line here. And here you can see it's even further under the line. And just to give you guys an idea, when I take this over here and we line up the pitch lines, you'll start to see how the first thing that you will notice is how out of sync we are, that we are not overlapping lines here to the 100th of a second, and even the pitch is different. So we're now at the beginning of the song, and it's as synchronized as you're going to get for a live performance. And what I'm going to do is now move this down to match pitch, and you'll start to see this kind of thing. It is a real mess. We haven't got lines going over the top of each other, but also, importantly, the pitch actually isn't identical. When I get rid of one and then I bring on the other one, you can see how those don't really replicate each other at all. One, the vibrato is actually a bit wider, and on the second one, the vibrato is a lot tighter. But again, that's just an artistic thing that Karen did. Just on the performance, just at that time, she just felt like doing a slightly tighter vibrato than she might have done on a different night. And again, it's something that just ebbs and flows with every single unique performance. So I've just moved it on a little bit, and I want you guys to check this out, because again, Karen's voice never fails to impress, because look at this section here when we do zoom in a little bit, I mean, obviously, it's clear as day that it's not overlapping. It's not the same audio file, but we already know that. But when we're looking at this data, just the pitch data here, take a look at this point and this point. Those are separated by what? 3 cents, something like that. A ridiculously small amount, tuning wise and pitch wise. And then up at the top, it's even more ridiculous. It's pretty much exactly the same point that she's hitting from one performance to another live. So this is just on a totally different level when we're analysing this pitch data. And the more I look at her voice, the more that statement that I made about her being the most accurate voice I've ever seen, it just gets backed up. That this is absolutely crazy from a level of control and pitch accuracy with a natural voice. This is not auto-tuned, it's not pitch corrected, this was a live vocal. So I'll let it play through. Again, both voices together.
A kiss for luck and we're on our way.
Again, look over here at this B3. Absolutely crazy. And then here on the B3 you can see that, still pretty much the same accuracy to start with, and then we just drift down with that vibrato. I don't need to do it. I'll do this for the last time now, matching up the lines, because you already know that it's not going to go over the top of each other. But in terms of if you're looking at this with an overall appreciation of pitch and just how accurate this is, that you're talking about here, she's hit this pretty much the same pitch, obviously milliseconds after each other between performances, but it is pretty consistent. And over here, the pitch, pretty consistent here. You'd say that she's only varied by maybe 5 cents. Here she descends and varies by maybe 3 cents. And I'm talking about tuning here, so 3 cents, which is absolutely nothing. Obviously it will display on the vocal pitch monitor because we're looking at it in detail, so you'll see the gap between the lines, but hearing the difference between these lines, you would not, it does just sound the same. Let me just play this through again.
Kiss for luck and we're on our way.
The only thing that you can tell is different is the vibrato of the way, and when it comes in a little bit earlier here and a little bit later here. Oh, she actually goes to a little bit of vocal fry there as well. And again, you hear that kind of thing, tiny detail. The phrasing is ever so slightly off. And when I say off, it's not wrong. It's just that it's another live performance, so it is going to be different. Again, take all of this into consideration when watching Sunday's video, that with one of the greatest voices of all time for pitch, but also just replicating performances, just making it sound like it did on another night, you still get this little bit of artistry in there where she just varies it as to how she's feeling on that particular evening. And that's why back in the day, watching a live performance was great, because you knew you were getting a one-off performance, that it wouldn't be replicated on another night. And it's these kinds of things, these tiny little changes that are made just on the fly as to how the artist is feeling at the time.
So many roads to choose.
And again, and now it's really clear as to we haven't got the same thing happening just twice. And again, I mean, looking at this here, I mean, look, when I say about the greatest voices of all time from a pitch perspective can hit these lines 2, 3, maybe 4 times in a row, but I mean, that is kind of pushing it. Here, we've got the 2 times in a row, and I am kind of tempted to have a little look through this to see where, I mean, this is the great thing, that a natural voice like this on the left hand side, we've just seen that she hit 2 lines in a row, just ridiculously accurate, and this will still sound great down here. But you can see how the human voice works, that it isn't calibrated to these lines, so it won't always be on these lines. Of course, instrumentally, Richard and the other instrumentalists are going to be playing this naturally to the to the feel that they have at that point for where the tempo is and whether they want to push it, whether they want to just kind of hold back a bit. So this is why it will go out of sync. And if I were to bring in the instrumentation, you would hear it would be a mess. But you can tell from the vocal that we are now out of sync because it's just another totally live performance on a different day, but a different year, kind of 3 years apart here. But having a look through, again, check out this F sharp 4 and the F sharp 4 here. So close pitch wise here. C sharp 4 just over the line, C sharp 4 just a little bit below the line there. And I mean, I'm keeping an eye on this to see. Here we go again. Take a look at this. D4, D4. Absolutely pretty much, if we're being really strict about it, you say, oh, that was slightly below the line. But then look, directly over this line and, a little bit above the line. But if you're looking at it quite zoomed out, you would say, well, that is as close as makes no difference to being over the line. And these are two performances 3 years apart that, again, we're looking at, the top level here. This is the absolutely perfect standard for a natural voice. So guess what? Here, take a look at this. B3, B3. Yeah, it's not exactly over the line there, but 2 notes. We could say 3. So this is what I mean. When you're looking at the best of the best, they've got the ability to be over the lines 3 times in a row. But on this other performance, she wasn't. It was a little bit flat, actually almost between notes. So you will get that natural variation. And as I move it forward, have a look here. Again, really accurate over the line, up here, over the line, here, over the line. So now we've got, flat or below the line. But then twice in a row. So this is what I mean. When you're looking at the best, when you're looking at the best vocalists, they have this kind of thing where they zero in. But the reason that they zero in is because that's the most accurate place to be at that time, as was this. And here, really accurate. But guess what's happening here? Vibrato. If you were to run a line through that, it would be between the notes. This, exactly the same, would be between the notes. So what are we saying? We're saying that the best vocalist of all time from a pitch perspective hit the lines 2 times, maybe 3 in a row, and then you get another line that now isn't hitting the lines. There'll always be a reset. This is the important thing about looking at a vocal at this kind of level. Here we go. Here's the reset, slightly sharp. And, here we go again, between lines. And now, over the line, pretty much over the line. Descend a little bit. Going through. Now what do we have here? A bit of a slide. And then we pretty much get up to pitch here. Here, a little bit sharp. And here, again, another reset. This note here, between notes pretty much. It's another reset. This is between lines. So, again, you're constantly being, through here. You can argue that that's going to be slightly below the line if you put a line through it. Same here. And I know that we're out of sync, so it means that the graphs, we're going to have to try and catch what we can. But, again, here, we were slightly flat here. And it's slightly below the line here, slightly below the line here, and slightly below the line here, but here over the line. So this is the point that what I'm trying to say is you will always get this, the natural voice just being where it is and not calibrated. When you're looking at a natural voice, you will never get it over the lines all the time, all the time, all the time. And this is why now with live auto-tune, they are putting in a differential because they're trying to do this. I know it sounds stupid, but they are trying to program this into auto-tune. And the reason that it's here is because of a feeling and an emotion that Karen was singing with. It wasn't because she was trying to think, oh, I better now move my vocal because people might think it's auto-tuned. Because, obviously that was never in the discussion in the 1970s. Taking this argument a little bit further, an instrument, if you played a piano and you played a note, you would get a straight yellow line on one of these white lines because it is tuned to this. This is what a piano is tuned to, or a keyboard is tuned to. So, I mean, like actual pianos, yeah, back in the day, they can go out of tune because they are strings that are being tuned. So with a keyboard, a digital piano, this is the tuning that you get. So if you were just to play a key, it would go directly over this line. So when you're talking about an auto-tuned vocal, it goes over this line because it is tuned to be like a digital piano. And this is what it is tuned to. It's calibrated to. So this is it, that you can have two performances that are separate vocals, but if they are auto-tuned heavily, they will sit on that line in exactly the same way as I can play a piano on one night and I know the next night is going to be exactly the same pitch because that's what it's tuned to. That's what it's calibrated to. It will always be there. It's great. I mean, I love looking at this kind of thing. You can say, oh yeah, that's slightly below the line, but as close as makes no difference for a natural voice. Look at this. Absolutely amazing with the E4 here, E4, the consistency. So yeah, and again, I'm going to say this is a natural voice. It is, I mean, there's a reason that I made that statement years ago about it being the most accurate that I've ever seen it on a pitch graph. But again, you know, it's the most accurate I've ever seen. But it's still night and day to an auto-tuned vocal and pitch corrected. Because look at this, the way C#4, we're now descending from where we were. And here we were, I would say, pretty much over the line. Let's have a look. Yeah, so we start here and look at the natural variation we have with Karen's, you know, the human voice. It then actually ends up between notes. So that's the kind of thing that you lose when it's calibrated and processed. It never moves from that line. So anyway, thank you guys for watching tonight's video. Hopefully this has given you a little bit of, I don't know, a benchmark for the best of the best. So then when you see other singers, if they're doing better than this, then yeah, it's something to be suspicious about, especially when you're looking at kind of 10, 20, 40, 50 lines all being hit, you know, within the space of a few songs. Yeah, it's something that is happening because it's being calibrated, not because it's just a natural vocalist who is the best of the best at hitting pitches. So there we have it. Thank you guys for watching this vocal analysis video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys at the next one.